John Connors, thanks for meeting me.
No bother at all, man.
So I've been thinking about this question now, kind of going over it in my head, and a good way of scripting it, but I couldn't think of any way, so I'm just going to come straight out with it. What's without sounding like an absolute mong, like what's it like to be famous? Like how does fame sit with you, being well known, being recognised?
Not very well.
No, okay.
Because I'm a very private person. And I think when you go on television and people get to know you, people think that you have an obligation to tell them everything about yourself and reveal everything and give them all the time in the world, when there could be 100 other people there waiting to see you as well.
Yeah.
And these people want you, they want to own you, which I don't like. You know, that goes against everything I sort of believe. But when you meet just general fans, that's fine, and people who like the work or like what I do in the activism, and that's all good. And I never say no to doing a selfie with someone or having a little chat with them. But sometimes people have no kind of sense of awareness about themselves when they approach you, and they could say a lot of rude and ignorant stuff as well. So it's really not been good for my private life, I'd say, and not really good for me mental health as well, I would say, at some points, because I get a lot of trolls as well. I get daily trolls every single day online who just get in touch and call me knacker and pikey, and this is literally every single day. So sometimes it's not the best for the head, you know?
Yeah.
But sometimes you can get into a nightclub, which is like a luxury when you're a traveller to be able to get in anywhere, so.
Okay. And was there a period in your life that you kind of where you went from kind of being unknown to being famous, but that you at one moment that kind of you said, fuck, that was weird that I'm known now, or I'm recognised?
Yeah, I did the first episode of Love Hate season 5. I did a scene with Nidge, Tom Lawler, and it was a scene where I told him to take the money back and use it to buy a headstone. So it went kind of mad after that, like really mad. I went and done the Olympia UB40 gig, and it took me about an hour to get from just where the people give you take your ticket, the security, just to get to the door, and it was only about 20 feet. It took me an hour to get there because there was about 500 people there out smoking and drinking, and the top was ripped off me. I was scratched, and then I had to be put into VIP because it was causing a nuisance to kind of the crowd. I didn't realise this, and then in the VIP it happened as well, and they wanted to put me into like a boot then, just so because it was a security risk. So that was a bit of a shocker. Like I was naive to it. I didn't realise, because Love Hate was a phenomenon. Like a quarter of the Irish population watched it every Sunday. So when you put it into context like that, but then you're not getting paid like a Hollywood actor, but you have like this really intense Hollywood fame in Ireland, just you know. But you don't have the money to be getting security, you know. So yeah, that was a moment that definitely sticks out, I suppose.
Oh, okay. And so like a person in your position in the public eye, if you will, has to be kind of careful of what they say, right? The whole kind of PC culture that exists. I'm wondering, is that something that you recognise, or that you're aware of, the PC being politically correct all the time?
Yeah. You don't have to watch what you say. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
I suppose that's freedom of speech. Something that's been lost, a value that's been lost in people, I'd say. I've got myself in a lot of trouble. Sometimes not knowing what the reactions are going to be, sometimes knowing and not giving a fuck. So, yeah, I mean, I hate all this people saying you can't say this, and people protesting, people who are coming to speak at the universities and wanting to ban people online and all this. Like even your man Tommy Robinson recently has been banned from Facebook and I think it was Twitter. I don't agree with it. Neither do I agree with his politics. I would consider myself to be in the opposite end of the spectrum, but I think he should be allowed to say what he wants to say. Why put that stuff in the underground? Why make a martyr out of him and basically just gather more support for him? You know, I think that's what it's doing. Even this Liam Neeson thing, he said this in the context that he thought it was crazy what he'd done and he couldn't believe it, you know. And I like coming out being that brutally honest about something. I think that opens up a discussion. And then to want his career to be ended, I'm not sure. Was it racist what he'd done? Absolutely. I think he admits that. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think, you know, this whole being careful about I don't really give a fuck. I've got myself in so much trouble now. I can't get in a worse position anyway. You know what I mean? So I don't care. They're not going to silence me anywhere, or I'm not going to have to apologise for anything. Like, people have told me to apologise for stuff, and I've told them to go and fuck themselves. Because I'd rather go down in flames and stand by what I believe in, you know?
Yeah. You mentioned politics there, like, so you start off as an actor and you become quite, you're an activist and you become quite political minded, right? You're in, and I might be wrong now because I maybe didn't do my research, but in 2025 there's a new election, right? Presidential election here in Ireland. In 2025 you turn 35, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So the legal age in Ireland to be run for president is 35. Is John Connors possibly going to run for president?
I'd say no, because being an artist and an actor is way more fun than being a big born politician. Okay. Their job sucks. Donkey dick, huge donkey dick. So I wouldn't say so. However, I would consider it if Peter Casey ran again, because I just want to take him down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if he did go, I would do a very, very, let's say, energetic campaign.
Nice one.
And that would be my motivation, would be to just run against his vitriol and hate, you know? But besides that, no. I'm having too much fun in the creative world, you know, where dopamine and serotonin is flying out of this creativity, and you're in the flow state, not fucking, you know, on fucking RTE or TV3 having a debate with some cunt who was just talking political nonsense and discourse and proper speaking, and I hate all that shit.
You might not get the presidency, but it'd be a good crack anyways having a go at Peter Casey.
Yeah, no, literally the only reason I would go would be to run against him. Like, that's the only, you know, that would be a motivator for me. You know, and I'd be open about that. That's what I'd be doing. You know, I wouldn't be seriously confident, because the sentiment out there for Tramler is really bad, and Peter Casey proved that with 10 days out, going from 1% to 23% with 10 days out. If he did it 6 weeks out, he would have won. I'm convinced of that. So I wouldn't be very confident in winning, and particularly because some of my political stance in the past would all come back to haunt me, and all the stuff all the skeletons. But in actuality, all the skeletons are out because I spoke about all of them myself. I was the one that told loads of shit about my past that no one needed to know, but I said it anyway because I didn't give a fuck. But they would just amplify all those things. You know what I mean? Which I wouldn't care. That kind of thing would actually not stress me. But yeah, that'd be the only way I'd run.
You seem to be very like solid in your kind of traits, and like you're very aware of like your personality, if that makes sense. You know who you are. Doesn't seem to be any bullshit with you, right?
Yeah.
What you see is what you get. What type of characteristics do you think make a good person?
Make a good person?
Yeah. Do you like seeing somebody?
Loyalty, character, you know, good convictions and standing over them, and determination, and not giving a fuck. That's very important. That's the most important, is to recognize there are some times in your life where it's very, very, it's essential actually to not give a fuck, because you can go so far. It's been the backbone of why I've gotten to where I am, wherever that is anyway, but it's a long way from my little box house in Darndale being suicidal. And it's because I had this I don't give a fuck attitude. And what that allows you to do is free you up, and it gives you freedom to kind of do what you want without caring what others think. When you allow people to rule your life like that, with those, what they're thinking in their heads and their thoughts, to dictate your action and to dictate what you do in your life, when you think about that, that is the definition of insanity. You know what I mean? So not giving a fuck is so fucking important. So important. I can't stress that enough, actually.
You mentioned a period in your life where you had no real kind of passion or no real direction in life, right?
Yeah.
And then you found acting, and that kind of gave you the jizz for life, or the buzz for life. Is there? I'm wondering, like, a lot of young people can relate to that feeling, right? Just being a little bit lost. I'm wondering, what advice would you give to somebody like that?
Who were lost?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'd almost not give advice. I'll try to give advice, but sometimes going through that period of being lost and finding it yourself. Not sometimes, and maybe that's essential, maybe, but maybe some people stay lost and go further into the abyss. To those people, I would say, you know, you need to give yourself a routine and a structure. I'd say that's more important than anything, to be honest with you. And you need to try stuff out and try to get it into something creative, because even if it's not something that you want to do with your career, having a creative outlet is going to help you in life in general. Just using that part of your brain is always going to help you in any business you get into, anyway. So I would say look for something creative and give yourself a routine and structure, because when I'm at my most creative acts, because we have this sort of rock star mentality of the artists and the tortured soul and the drinking and the rock star, and it'll create something. It's all bollocks. Because actually when you get work done and when you're on fire creatively and in this flow state, that's when you have structure and a routine and not abusing your body and stuff like that. So,
right, I'd imagine your career as an actor is maybe somewhat similar to my own career as a chef, you know, and in terms of like, if I want to become a great chef and climbing that ladder, it probably takes similar kind of qualities and stuff that it would take to get to the top of your industry. What would you say they are?
Again, man, not giving a fuck. And also what I find with acting, and I think this is with everything, man, look, you want what you can have, and when you come across as desperate to people who are in power that have your destiny in your hands, you're not going to get anywhere. And where I've actually been very successful is when I get in the room with those people and never kiss ass and never suck dick, I don't give a fuck, and then they want me. And that's just basic psychology. But when you come in really desperate, how you doing, and all this, they don't want to know. They don't want to know. It's like this. It's like a beautiful girl that you're chatting up and she's coming on to you really aggressively, and you're going, she's not so beautiful now, because she wants you too much. You know what I mean? Whereas the one you're chasing, you're going, oh my God, I want her. You know what I mean? So that's what it's like. And I think it's important not to be desperate, because they can smell people can smell desperation. Sometimes they're not even sure what's going on, but it's going on in their unconscious. They're going, oh, just not attracted to this person. The energy's not right, you know? And then there's just small little things, like I'm looking into your eyes right now and I'm showing that I'm invested into this interview. Things like that, showing that you are invested, you know? And when you're talking to a group of people, don't just zone in on one person, talk to the whole group. You know, little things like that make a huge difference. Because people see you as a good communicator. Being a good communicator will help you in anything you do. Anything, no matter what it is, whether it's acting, whether it's a chef, whether it's anything. That's really the skill. That's gotten me so far. The amount of roles I've gotten from just being a good conversationalist with people and talking about varied subjects and having the crack in general, because it's important to have the crack, lads. You know what I mean? To be a fun person to be around. And you get more opportunities from that, you know? So I think that's very important, you know?
Right, so I'll finish up on this one, so John. You're clearly very proud of your roots, right? Your traditions. I wonder, is there a part of you that's maybe like, as an Irishman, that's like maybe not proud of this country, right? Yeah, what I would say, I'd make the distinction of going, not proud of the state and successive governments since the formation of the Irish Free State, because my people have been completely demonised and dehumanised. And a lot of working class people and people in rural towns and different people from different backgrounds, Protestants, people who didn't fit this sameness bill that we've always had in Ireland and what it means to be Irish, you know? Because there's been a sort of one singular identity, which was usually an Irish-speaking middle-class farmer. That's what the image that got promoted after the formation of the Irish Free State, of that's what it meant to be Irish. And if you didn't toe into that, so if you were an old traveller on the roadside, an old vagabond, you didn't fit into that. Or if you were a Protestant, you didn't fit into that. If you were working class, you didn't fit into that. You know, if you were from a slum, you didn't fit into that. Whatever. And also we have a horrible class system in this country that we never really talk about. No one wants to talk about. And now we're living in the age of diversity, and everyone talks about diversity, which is great. But there's no diversity across class. We have this gender diversity thing now that's happening, more women getting included in different stuff, and that's great. But most of these women that are getting included are middle or upper class women. Where are the working class women getting included? They're not. They're just not. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do that. That's what I'm trying to push, is this wider thing of, that's why this play, Ireland's Call, I didn't make the character a traveller, because I knew some people just have their biasness and they wouldn't accept this. And
I wanted to make it more universal so that the message could spread, because it's not just about travellers for me, it's about everyone who's at the bottom. Because everyone who's at the bottom fight with each other, because that's a side effect of the system.
Yeah.
And that's what you want, everybody to fight with each other, so that we forget about the fact that we're all being fucked hard. You know what I mean? Without lube.
John, thanks a million, man. It's an absolute
bother,
pleasure. Sam.
Thank you.